Help me hit 4,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I still remember that night like it happened yesterday. The night of the company's holiday party. The one everyone had been talking about for weeks. I wasn't exactly excited. Crowded rooms, loud music, and obligatory small talk had never been my thing. But I was going because Claire, my girlfriend of 4 years, insisted we go together. "It'll be fun, Ethan," she had said with that bright smile that made me forget my own hesitation. I should have taken her smile as a warning. From the moment we walked in, something felt off. Claire was smiling, chatting with coworkers, but there was a subtle tension in her eyes. She wasn't laughing as much as usual. She held my hand, but loosely, almost as if it were a polite formality rather than a sign of connection. I tried to brush it off, telling myself she was just nervous about seeing everyone from work. But deep down something told me otherwise. An hour into the party, as I was standing by the snack table, she leaned close to me and whispered, almost too quietly for anyone else to hear, "I wish I'd come alone." The words hit me like a cold splash of water. I froze for a second, unsure if I'd heard her right. My heart sank and a wave of embarrassment mixed with anger rolled over me. I wanted to laugh it off, tell myself she was joking, but the look on her face was too serious. That wasn't a joke. I excused myself and stepped outside for some fresh air, trying to sort my thoughts. The winter air was sharp, biting at my cheeks, but it cleared my mind enough to think. I realized that her comment wasn't just about the party. It was about me, about us, about how after 4 years something fundamental had shifted. Claire wasn't happy being with me anymore, and she didn't even bother to hide it. I didn't confront her immediately. I went back inside, keeping my composure, pretending everything was normal. But inside, a storm was building. Every laugh she shared with someone else, every glance that wasn't mine felt like a knife twisting in my chest. I found myself observing her, noticing the way she interacted with others, how her hand occasionally brushed against someone else's arm, how she lingered near a colleague with a smile meant for someone who wasn't me. By the time the party was winding down, I had made a decision. If she wanted to experience this night alone, then fine, I would make that happen. Not as a game, not as a punishment, but as clarity. I waited until she was distracted with a conversation. Then I quietly slipped away, letting her think I was still mingling. I drove home in silence, my mind racing but my face calm, my hands gripping the steering wheel tighter than necessary. When I got home, I left a note on the kitchen counter. It was short, precise, and honest. "You wanted to come alone. I made it happen. Let's talk tomorrow." I didn't add any apologies, no emotional flourishes, nothing that could be misinterpreted as weakness. I went to bed early, leaving the lights off, listening to the quiet hum of the house. For the first time in months, I felt a strange sense of relief. The next morning, Claire came home from her late-night errands, her coat damp from the drizzle outside. She looked surprised to see the note. Her face went pale as she read it, and for a moment, I thought I might have overreacted. But then she looked at me, really looked, and I saw something I hadn't seen in a long time, regret. I didn't mean that," she started, her voice shaky. "I didn't mean I wanted to come alone without you forever. I held up my hand. Claire, you said it. I just made it real. That's all." There was a pause, heavy and tense, as if the air itself was waiting for something to break. I watched her take a deep breath, trying to compose herself, trying to find the words that wouldn't come. And then she said it. "I've been feeling trapped, Ethan. I love you, but I feel like I've lost myself somewhere along the way. I needed to be me, even for one night." I nodded slowly, letting the words sink in. I understood more than she realized. Love wasn't supposed to feel like a cage. It wasn't supposed to make someone wish they were alone at a party. The truth was hard and it was painful, but it was also liberating. We spent the next few hours talking, not fighting, not yelling, just talking. For the first time in months, we were honest with each other. She explained the pressures she'd been feeling at work, the subtle resentments that had been creeping in, the little annoyances that had grown into bigger walls between us. I admitted my own frustrations, my fears, and how I'd been silently feeling like an outsider in my own relationship. It wasn't an easy conversation. There were tears, pauses, and uncomfortable silences. But there was also clarity. By the time afternoon rolled around, we had reached a fragile understanding. We weren't perfect, and the road ahead wouldn't be simple, but we had rediscovered a form of honesty we had both neglected. In the days that followed, I noticed subtle changes. Claire smiled more genuinely when we were alone, laughed at my jokes again, and held my hand with intention rather than obligation. And I felt lighter, more present, more alive. The decision to step away that night to give her and myself space had been a turning point. It wasn't about winning or losing. It wasn't about punishment or revenge. It was about creating room for truth to breathe. Months later, when friends asked me about that night, I didn't describe the embarrassment, the awkwardness, or the tension. I told them about the revelation, the clarity, the moment when I realized that sometimes love isn't about clinging. It's about understanding when to let go so that you can both grow. I'll never forget what she said at the party. "I wish I'd come alone." At the time, it stung like a sharp blade. But in the end, it was a gift. It forced us to confront the cracks we'd been ignoring, to face uncomfortable truths, and ultimately, to find a path back to each other, or at the very least, to ourselves. Love, I learned, isn't about forcing someone to stay. It's about recognizing when space is needed, when honesty is more important than comfort, and when the bravest thing you can do is step back to see the full picture. That night was our breaking point, but it also became our beginning, and for the first time in years, I felt like we were both truly free.